I think we'll get started. Thank you all very, very much for coming today. What we hope to accomplish during the day today is get you excited about hydrocephalus research. I'm going to introduce a new hydrocephalus research center that has just been initiated on this campus. And my co-MC, Dr. Shah, is going to be talking about research on the medical side. What we hope to accomplish is to try and stimulate collaboration from the basic sciences through all of the clinical sciences. We are talking about drug development in some of the studies we're doing. We're doing a lot of preclinical work, and we'd love to partner with some of our medical colleagues to move some of those forward as this becomes available. So I'm Bonnie Blazer-Yost. I am the director of the New Hydrocephalus Research Center. Our manager, Sarah Connors, is here today. Sarah, would you stand up? She's a good person to contact if you want to know more about the center or to make contact with us. And all of our emails are on the program that you got. So please feel free to take that. For those of you who are joining us remotely, first of all, I'm really sorry that we won't have time to take questions just because of the number of speakers we have and the logistics of all of this. We're very happy that you are joining us. And again, all of the speakers have agreed to have their emails put into the program so that if you contact any of us, we can send you a copy of the program if you don't already have it. And we are trying to get people to talk to each other. So please feel free to contact any of the speakers or any of us. There is going to, for those of you who are here in the audience, there's going to be a reception between 5 and 6 today. Even though we are on the undergraduate side of campus, we have managed to get permission for beer and wine. So please stay and mingle with us. There is only one bio break that we have put in to this program. And just let me tell you that if you go straight down the hall here, turn right out of the door, go down to the first hallway that is perpendicular. The elevators are there and the restrooms are right on the other side of the elevators. If you do need to get up and take a bio break, please feel free. Those of us who teach in these rooms are very used to people getting up and moving around and going out and coming back in. So please feel free. First of all, I'd like to do a big thank you to Lindsay, Jill, and Sarah. They have been fantastic in helping to plan this program and bring us all together. I'd also like to thank both the Dean's Office here at the School of Science and the Neuroscience Institute for support, for personnel who have helped us plan this event. And this is truly put on by both the Neuroscience Institute and the Dean's Office. I think Dr. Shah is going to talk more about the Neuroscience Institute and fill you in a little bit more about that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the research that we're proposing to do in the Hydrocephalus Research Center. So in the center, we have a number of different investigators. The center was created because of 2 DoD grants, Department of Defense grants. It was written into one of those grants, and we said we were going to put this together. The people listed on this slide are all part of those grants. So you see the current students and staff in my laboratory. We are going to be joined, the grants just started recently, so we're going to be joined by 4 additional people. Dr. Bilecki Adams will be speaking a little bit later, and she will be introducing her research. There are two investigators, they're co-principal investigators with Dr. Bilecki Adams and I, Dr. Shenandoah Robinson and Dr. Lauren Jensky. They are part of one of the two grants, and Lauren was going to speak today, but unfortunately, she was in a very serious car accident yesterday afternoon, so she will not be joining us. I'll say a few words about their combined research in a little bit. And then at the Purdue School of Veterinary Medicine, our investigators and the co-PI there is Dr. Tim Bentley. He's going to be joining us in a few minutes to talk about an animal model. He is in Britain at the moment, so he'll be joining us from Britain to tell us about the animal model that he was instrumental in creating. It is a pig model. And for those of you who know anything about drug development, going into a pig model is the next step, or the final step in preclinical work before going into humans. So we're very excited about that. He is joined by Greg Knipp and Robin McCain, who are both at Purdue and do all of the pig work, the pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics. Purdue is amazingly set up to do large animal studies. And finally, we have Scott Mitchell, who is from this university, from the School of Medicine. And Scott has been collaborating with the Purdue group, learning how to do the induction of the pig model, and has been working with them. And we're very happy to have Scott with us as well. So this is preaching to the choir. You all know this. There are no effective drug treatments for hydrocephalus. So our research center has three major objectives. We want to understand the pathophysiology of hydrocephalus. We want to understand that at a molecular level, a cellular level, a physiological level, because I think it's only by understanding the disease process that we can effectively do treatments and develop drugs. And that brings us to our next goal, and that is to identify drug targets, potential places where we could intervene in the development of hydrocephalus and effectively treat it without brain surgery. And finally, we're using a lot of different preclinical models. We have 3 different rat models, we have a mouse model, and now we have a pig model. And that too is very important when you go into drug development, because a single model is not going to cut it. You can't assume that a mouse brain is equal to a human brain. Pig is about as close as we can get, but we're looking for things that are common to all of those models, and we'll be talking about those. Now, I'd like to mention give it a little bit of history of how this developed. I was by training a renal physiologist. I am not was not a hydrocephalus researcher. I am now. And it was just a serendipitous observation in an animal model we were using to study polycystic kidney disease that led me into this. And when one is making a transition like that from one field to another, it is very hard to get funding because you have no standing at all in that field. So what was key to get started was pilot funding. And the first external pilot grant that we got was from the Hydrocephalus Association. It was a Team Hydro award. And 3 of the people from the Team Hydro group are here today. Pam Finlayson is going to be talking to us later and telling us a little bit about Team Hydro. But that first grant was absolutely instrumental in being able to continue with the pilot studies that we were doing. I have to also acknowledge this university because throughout that whole time, I had a lot of different pilot grants from the university. And a lot of those in collaboration with people at the medical school, and those two helped us. More recently, we've gone into another drug target that we are not yet funded for at a national level. And again, Team Hydro, through the Hydrocephalus Association, gave us a second award that allowed us to develop that into animals. Oh, sure. Sorry. Thanks, Mike. So, is that better? Thank you. That funding, that pilot funding, led to a Department of Defense grant, and you might ask why the Department of Defense. One of the things that causes adult hydrocephalus, so you may all think of hydrocephalus as a pediatric disease because that's where it is most visible. In children, their skulls have not ossified. So if this cerebral spinal fluid builds up, then their heads get big. So I think most people that are not in the field, when they think of hydrocephalus, they think of pediatric hydrocephalus. But it turns out that the incidence of adult hydrocephalus is every bit as common as the pediatric form, and can come from a number of different causes, things like stroke, traumatic brain injury. There is a disease of the elderly called normal pressure hydrocephalus. I don't know if Dr. Williams will be talking about that or not, but there are a number of different forms of hydrocephalus, and the Department of Defense, of course, is most interested in the traumatic brain injury form. But the Department of Defense has an unusual basic research funding profile, and they fund a lot of basic research that is not necessarily related to their main mission, their main military mission. So this has led to two major DoD grants, a Focused Program Award and an Expansion Award. I'll tell you a little bit about the specific aims. I'm building up to the specific aims of these grants, because that is what the center is going to be doing for the next 4 years. These are new grants. One started in May and one started in September. On the Focused Program Award, there are 3 equal principal investigators. Dr. Bilecki Adams is going to be speaking today. We'll say a few words about Dodie Robinson and Lauren Jensky. Their research, as I say, Lauren was going to be here today, but couldn't because of a car accident. And then the Expansion Award is with the investigators at Purdue, which I just mentioned. So looking at the Focused Program Award first, Project 1, there are 5 projects, 4 of which are funded. Project 1 involves all investigators, and between us, the investigators have 4 rodent models, 2 genetic and 2 induced. So we have a post-hemorrhagic model, a post-traumatic brain injury model, and 2 genetic models. Here at IU, we are studying a potential drug called a TRPV4 antagonist. We have found that in our model, it is very effective. At Hopkins, they're using a combination of erythropoietin and melatonin in their models, which are the induced models. So what we're going to do in Project 1 is test all drugs in all models. And after we've tested all drugs in all models to find out which ones cut across all of those models, then we're going to put all 3 drugs together, because the TRPV4 antagonists probably hit the fluid secretion aspect of hydrocephalus. the erythropoietin and melatonin hit more the neuroinflammatory, and they're also neuroprotective. So we feel that together, this triple co-therapy may be very effective, and we're doing that too in all models. From that point, we go into the individual projects, and I have listed those there. My expertise is in fluid electrolyte balance, and so we're going to be doing that a lot, both in animal models as well as in cell culture models. A senior graduate student in my lab, McKenna Reed, was very interested in astrocytes and has spun off a project looking at astrocytes, which has become very interesting and is a part of this work as well. Then Dodie Robinson is looking at a traumatic brain injury model. Lauren Jansky is looking at chronic inflammation and post-hemorrhagic hydrocephalus. And Terry is looking at vision and sleep disturbances, and she'll be talking about her research in a moment. For the expansion award, as I said, we're going to use the pig model of post-hemorrhagic hydrocephalus, and in there, we're only going to test the TRPV4 antagonists. Pig studies are horrendously expensive to do, so we're going to start with one drug in that. As we're doing these animals, we're going to be collecting their brains, we're going to be collecting their cerebral spinal fluid, and we're going to be doing a lot of work on looking at what is affected not only in the area of the ventricles, but all over the brain. We're going to be looking at a lot of different things. And then we're going to also use a cell line in an iterative process to go back and forth with what we find in the animals and test that in a cell culture system. So the goal of creating a center is to facilitate collaboration. I have my email there, I put Sarah's email there, and we would be happy to have you contact us if you would be interested in any of the research that we are doing. So okay.